Are you a person that starts a lot of things and then after a certain amount of time give up? Or do you start a lot of things and just don't finish them? Do you start a lot of things and you get so overwhelmed? Um, that's perfectly normal. I've been doing some reading and some research about thing that I forget who it was coined the phrase. They call it the dip, and essentially that's what I want to talk about today, what that is, and some of the steps that I use to avoid getting stuck in the dip or to get past it, essentially. Um, again, a quick update before we dive into that. On my channel, I'm at 9 subscribers now. Again, the videos are getting very few views, which again I'm okay with. I know that to get started, I'm going to have to put a lot of videos out there, and basically this is more just practice to get used to talking to the camera and coming up with topics and things like that. And also, I in the first couple of videos, I did a lot of heavy editing, but for this one, I think I'm just going to keep a lot of this in here. A, because nobody's watching, but also just because I think there's a lot of value in having people be authentic, and even seeing me, kind of stutter and like, okay, lose my train of thought, whatever it may be. I think that's a very human thing. And also, when we're starting on YouTube, it's very hard to have a concise, clear message every time we get in front of the camera. So I think I'm going to leave a lot of this in there. I'll edit out some of the stuff that just gets boring, or my dog barks, or whatever. Um, so the dip, and I forget who. I'll try and add it into the description below of who coined this phrase, or I think who coined this phrase. But essentially, it means that at the beginning, when you're trying something new, whether it's you're learning how to golf, learning how to talk on YouTube, or start a YouTube channel, whether you're getting into sewing, cooking, whatever it may be, a hobby, a sport, whatever. At first everybody's really excited about it, so you're really motivated, and you're like, hey, you know what? Let's take YouTube for example. Let's talk about something else. YouTube's YouTube. Everybody knows YouTube. But let's talk about cooking. You're saying, hey, I'm going to start cooking healthier meals. You say, yeah, I'm really excited about it. So you go to the store, you buy all these ingredients, you come home, you spend, $500 on all these, fancy healthy things, because healthy food costs more than, non-healthy food. Um, and, you put together a meal and you're like, man, this is awesome. And you're really motivated to keep going. Like, tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing. But then after a while, it's like that peak of excitement kind of starts going down. Going down meaning you're not as excited, or you're like, oh, another meal, or you ran out of ingredients. There's all these hurdles to overcome. So essentially, you're saying, well, okay, I was really excited and I still am passionate about it, but I have to overcome this and I have to overcome that and I have to do that. And again, talking about YouTube, same thing, where you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, get on YouTube and be, whatever your goal may be, get 1,000 subs, or, get become famous, whatever you want to do. And at first you start and you're like, okay, I put out a video, and then it's like, oh, nobody watches. It's like, okay, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe that was just one video. Oh, second video, I put it out there, and oh, nobody's watching. And the third, fourth, fifth, and maybe 10, maybe 50, I don't know, and you're like, you're starting to lose a little of that momentum. That's essentially what's called the dip. Is you start off, on that high note of, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna be awesome, whatever, and you kind of peak a little bit, and then you start going down your momentum, as far as your motivation and your drive and your passion for doing it. Um, but that's when they say is that's where like the transition point becomes of, and not it's not guaranteed, but obviously if you spend time in that dip and you kind of get through it, then you go up even higher than you were when you first started. Higher motivation, higher passion, and being more driven. So they say you kind of have to, if you're doing the right things, you keep learning, you keep doing what you've been doing, and you get through it. And that way, at that point, you'll get through the dip and you'll start to see the benefits of sticking with it long term. Now, I think it does talk about too. There are times where you just have to give up, and you're like, you know what, this isn't right. If you tried cooking and you're just not like good at it, or you don't enjoy it, and you're in that dip, well, then maybe it is time to give that up and try something new. So it's not necessarily meant to be like, oh, just get through that dip no matter what and you'll be successful. Take that with a little grain of salt, I guess. But I think it is important because even for me on this journey that I'm on, I put out a few videos. I'm super motivated, and I'm still pretty motivated, even though I'm getting, 0 views. I'm getting some comments here and there, which is awesome. To talk to different people, and just see who's watching or looking at, the stuff that I'm putting out there. But to me, it's fun to just sit in front of the camera and talk about these different topics. I like doing the research. I enjoy this part of it. So for me, it's not a chore, even though, I'm kind of in that part where I'm getting into the dip, I think now. I don't feel like I'm in it or have been there long if I have, or if I am in it. But I do see where that can, you know, kind of drag me down to say, okay, I give up. I give up YouTube. I'm going to switch to, hiking or, whatever, rock climbing, whatever it may be. Um, anyway, so there's that, the dip. I wanted to talk about that just to encourage you to say, if that's where you're at, where you started off really strong and now you're just kind of, well, keep going. Because again, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be successful, but at least keep learning, keep changing things, keep going with what you've been doing, and try it for longer. Everybody says YouTube is not one of those things that's an overnight success, unless you're a Mr. Beast or somebody that posted something that went viral, But even that, I think, has its own. Once you go viral, then what do? You have to, figure out what you're going to do next. Another viral video, or do people even care about your regular vlog, about your life? There's struggles with that too. So I'm sure that's not all glamorous for a Mr. Beast. And I know he has a whole team of people that do things for him. So um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about quickly is Malcolm Gladwell posted. He wrote a book called Outliers, and in that he has this I don't know what you call it, theory maybe, or whatever, something that he coined that says 10,000 hours is what somebody needs to become an expert at something. So like Tiger Woods had to invest 10,000 deliberate hours to essentially become an expert at golf. If you want to become like cooking, you're going to have to spend 10,000 hours to get there to become like a master chef. If you want to be really good at cycling or knitting or, whatever it may be, 10,000 hours is kind of that point where you become an expert because you've spent enough time doing that and researching and changing and things like that. And I think that applies here too, because again, that dip, it's like you start off strong with motivation and then you start kind of getting down and you're spending time, and eventually you have enough time in where you're like, hey, you haven't maybe figured it out completely, but you're changing things and you're like, oh, maybe this topic, maybe this thumbnail, maybe this time that I post, what I put in the description, all of that matters and adds up. So all of those little chunks that you're getting, that's kind of that 10,000 hours of you're accumulating that time and saying, I'm putting this time into my practice, into my whatever it may be, your hobby, to become, good at it, to become an expert. And now, obviously, 10,000 hours, I'm not sure exactly where he came up with that. And I've actually read that some people disputed that. But it's still a good reminder that 10,000 hours is a long time. 24 hours in a day, that's 500 days, something like that. So almost 2 years. Did I do that math right? 500 times, yeah. Anyway, long story short, that's another example of this dip where if we get stuck into that dip and we just give up, well, then you're not going to see the other side of it and you're not going to see that potential. It's not guaranteed, obviously, if you're feeling like this truly isn't the thing for me. But, YouTube is one of those things where it's free. So just keep posting and see what happens. A lot of people that I've seen on YouTube are like, I've been doing this since 2017. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been doing this. So it's going to take a while to create that presence on YouTube. And every video that you put out, you're going to get better at talking in front of the camera. I'm sure even now, if I look back at my first video, I'm sure I'm much more comfortable in front of the camera. The first time that I did this, I had no idea what to say, or it's like, okay, where am I looking? What's my hair look like? What? And it's like, here I am in a hoodie and, I just got done working out. So it's like, who cares, what you're actually, not who cares. That's not what I want to say. I say it's an example of how my story, after just spending more time and doing research, how I've probably gotten better as well from my first video. So keep it going. Good luck to you. Again, as always, comment down below, say hi. I think subscriptions are free. So if you post down below, I'll probably sub to you. because I just like to see what different creators are doing on their YouTube channels. So even if your topic doesn't apply to YouTube growth or anything like that, still say hey, and I'll give you a sub.